Hello and howdy there, folks. A couple days ago, I saw a Norwegian film called Headhunters, and I rather enjoyed it. I'm giving it a 7. Headhunters is about a headhunter. I'm not entirely sure of all that job entails. I know that he pretty much works for a random company trying to fill the right job, or a particular job, with the right person, the very best person. So in a way, he's kind of like a casting director. But in the business world, they call it headhunting. So he's like the best headhunter. He's got a reputation, which if you've seen the film is not a joke. He's got a reputation. He's the best. He's got a enormously, gorgeously beautiful wife. He lives an incredibly extravagant lifestyle. But what we don't know is that he cannot support this lifestyle. He does not make enough money. He's actually massively in debt. He is a thief. He's an art thief. When he sets up clients on job interviews, he knows enough about the client to rob their house while they are being interviewed. So while he's trying to get them a job, he simultaneously robs them blind. So he's got a lot of problems. Which makes him a target for an individual who wants a job. He wants to be CEO of a weapons manufacturer, warfare. And everything just pretty much unravels. The whole point of watching this film is for the surprises, the twists, the turns, the experience. So I feel that I can't really talk about it much at all, just because it's so much about the journey. But nothing is what it seems. It's one of those, chase movies. It's an hour-and-a-half chase, where both people involved, both the chaser and the chasee, are rather intelligent. And basically, if they mess up, it just comes down to a simple mistake. This is a foreign film. It's from Norway. Apparently there are 2 languages in the film. It said in English subtitles, or it said in Norwegian and Danish with English subtitles. So I honestly can't tell the difference between Norwegian and Danish. They didn't seem to have any problems communicating with each other, so I don't know how much of, what language was used. As with all foreign films, I usually have a foreign audience watching this video. Please don't kill me that I don't know anyone's name. I am unfamiliar with pretty much everyone in this film. I thought if there's a bad guy, I thought the bad guy kind of looked familiar, but not really. I'm unfamiliar with every name in the film, so I can't express anything about that. I thought all the acting was very good. It's pretty much, what I would call on-the-edge acting. Every emotion is amplified because you're constantly, if this were happening to you in your life, it would be, a nightmare. It would be a nightmare. And you're constantly on the edge. So everything has that, some kind of fire to it. So in a way, you might call the performances one note just because they're always, there. But I think, especially the main actor, the headhunter, is, he did a great job. He did a great job because he really gets jerked around. He's got to think on his feet. he's got to be terrified while maintaining a level of intelligence. I think he just pulls it off. I thought all the acting was very good. It was very well directed, very well written. If I'm not incorrect, this comes from a novel. So the story is pretty much there and is rich. Again, because I think it exists as a novel, and I think they use that as a guidepost. So it's a very detailed, very good story, very well told. I guess the only reason I'm giving it below a 7, I probably should go on to mention I thought it was well directed. I thought it looked gorgeous. Again, there wasn't much technically wrong with the film that stood out to me. I thought it looked gorgeous. The editing was fantastic. It was, it was just this seamless kind of nightmare adventure story, thriller. I mean, really. The reason I'm not giving it higher than a 7, even though I think a 7 is a fine score, it came down to the point where, and I'm not so much minding this, but it just came down to the point where people acted, out of character in some instances. I thought that, I don't so much mind when, well, I kind of do mind, but I call it like the laws of physics. You can break down the laws of physics in a film. It doesn't, matter so much. Especially, depending on the film you're watching. You can put the laws of physics on hold for a while. And I try to tell myself that, humans obey in a innate, law-abiding manner. And when I say law-abiding, I mean obeying the laws of physics and the laws of reality and of the mind. And I always feel that a film should somewhat, and unless it's some abstract piece of art, should sometimes focus that, have some grip on a reality that, because this is a very human story, and the humans behave in a way that I find highly implausible. And it's tough for me to stick with it. For a while, I mean, maybe twice in the movie, I just kind of shrugged, and I was like, okay, I'll go with it. I don't need to think about it. But it just seems that, at least a couple instances, the story continues because it needs to continue. I'm just saying that it could have been resolved like twice, much earlier in the film, if they just wouldn't have done this one thing. If they had behaved as a normal human in any type of realistic situation, the movie would be over. But they don't, so the movie continues. It's fine, It is a movie after all. But that's the only problem I have with it. That's the only problem I have with it, is that they disobeyed and disregarded the basic laws of human nature. But I guess you wouldn't have this fantastic story. You want to talk about edge of your seat? I mean, yes, I was on the edge of my seat. I felt terrible for all the people in the film, all the characters. That's one thing, is you definitely can't help but be an observer in this film, because I think it's hard to connect with any of the characters. I think all of the characters, with probably the exception of the wife, and even then she is kind of on the fence, all of the characters behave in a selfish and just immoral manner. I mean, you don't want to be anyone in the movie because you feel that you are morally superior to any of the characters. because there's no character that does right. Every character does wrong. If they lie, if they can lie, they will lie. If they can steal, they will steal. It's just, you know, a movie where they're pretty much all kind of shitty people. And now the shit's hitting the fan, and not everyone's going to get out alive. In fact, not really many people make it out of this movie alive. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of violence. Some of it kind of surprising, some of it kind of slow, and just kind of methodical, and you have to sit there and deal with it. I think in preparation, the director watched a lot of Coen brothers, because it's, you know, about kidnapping, about thieving, about lying, about mistaken identity, all while trying to remain at a human level and keep a sense of humor, obviously a dark sense of humor. I've found a lot of parallels with Fargo, a lot of parallels with No Country for Old Men, parallels with Blood Simple, you know, three films which are, you know, Coen brothers classics, and maybe even a little bit of The Big Lebowski. So I think he watched a lot of Coen brothers in preparation for this. I also think I think he watched maybe like the Bourne films, the Bourne trilogy. That's kind of what this movie is to me in a nutshell, is if the Coen brothers did a Jason Bourne movie. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. And I think that's pretty apt. Everything's kind of calm. The music just comes out of nowhere. Like, everything is silent, and it reminded me a lot of a movie I can't remember now. I think it was called The Tourist. No, it's not The Tourist. I can't remember the name of that damn movie. I saw it recently, but it was, again, just about wrong place, wrong time. But that's, again, kind of like here, too, but not. I don't really know what else to say. I feel like I would be repeating myself even more so if I kept talking. I enjoyed it. I didn't really have any problem reading the film. You know, I thought I got everything. I enjoyed the movie. I don't really know what else to say. I think it's a solid 7. I will, you know, even if you imitate the Coen brothers, you still are talented enough or smart enough or have the good taste enough to imitate greatness. So I hope I see more from this filmmaker. It's definitely, I am not sure where this is in his canon, whether he's made a lot of films, because I just don't know who did it. So I don't know anything about the filmmaker, which puts me at a handicap. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fine watch. And if you like to, you know, it's very white knuckle. If you like to be tortured by people making mistakes and just this close to being dead or caught or whatever, but just not. You know, not. You know, it's one of those. So if you like those thrillers, if you like just being manipulated and just going, all the time, then, you know, you're going to love this movie. I think it's, you know, pretty damn good. Again, it's as if the Coen brothers did a Jason Bourne movie. I think that's pretty fair. So that's Headhunters. It's a solid 7 for me. Thank you very much.